This is the story of Gamini Jayasena. In 1952, a boy named Palitha Senuwarotne was born in Sri Lanka. Palitha had a mother named Venus and a father named Lionel. Palitha liked his mother more than his father. Interestingly, his mother liked sewing, and Palitha and his father would plant things in their garden. Palitha had a younger brother named Nimel. They often fought one another, and one day Nimel bit Palitha. Also, Nimel was bitten by a dog. Even though Nimel bit Palitha, Palitha still loved Nimel, and Palitha was angry at the dog for biting Nimel. It is also worth mentioning that Palitha had a brother named Ranjith. Palitha had a neighbor named Charles. Charles was also the great uncle of his father Lionel. Charles owned a car and his son owned a motorcycle, and their home had electricity. Palitha owned a toy elephant, and he regularly took the elephant to a well so that he could clean the elephant with water. In addition, Palitha was a Christian, and he attended a Christian elementary school. While attending school, Palitha lived in a boarding house near the school. However, he returned to his family's home when it was vacation time. Palitha normally put his school bag in a cupboard or cabinet, but one day he put his school bag on a chair and he said, "I shall not be going to school again." Palitha was very sick and he had to be taken to the hospital. At the age of 8, Palitha died. 2 years after Palitha died, Gamini Jayasena was born in Sri Lanka. His father's name was G. Jayasena, and his mother's name was P.K. Nadawathi. They gave Gamini the nickname Baby. Even when Gamini got older, they continued to call him Baby. At 18 months old, Gamini told his mother that he had another mother that he called his real mother. He said his real mother was bigger than Nadawathi, and he said his real mother owned a sewing machine. Gamini remembered multiple things about his past life. Here are several things he said about his past life. He said he left his backpack on a chair. He said he owned a toy elephant and he took the elephant to a well to clean it. He said he knew a man named Nimel and Nimel bit him. And he said Nimel was bitten by a dog. Also, he said Nimel was attacked by a cow. All of these statements were true for the life of Palitha. Gamini knew that light could be turned on and off with a switch. This surprised his family because they didn't have electricity in the family, and they knew Gamini never observed this in his lifetime. Furthermore, Gamini said he knew a family member named Charlie, and Charlie owned a car. And Charlie's family had a red motorcycle. He also said his past life family owned an olive tree. However, Gamini never learned the word olive from his current family. Lastly, when Gamini got upset, he told his family that he would leave them and go to his past life family. Even though his family were Buddhists, Gamini didn't want to go to Buddhist temples, and he didn't want to bow to Buddhist monks. What's more, when Gamini saw a cross, he took it home and he asked his mother to put it on the wall. Surprisingly, Gamini prayed like a Christian and he liked Christmas. Hence, his parents believed he was a Christian in his past life. Wimala Wanza was a Buddhist monk, a school principal, and a cousin of Gamini's mother. After learning about Gamini's reincarnation claims, Wimala Wanza drove Gamini and Gamini's mother to the area that Gamini claimed to live. Gamini led his mother and Wimala Wanza to the house of Palitha Senuwarotne. "That is my house," said Gamini. "My mummy lives there." Interestingly, Gamini called his mother and father Amma and Tatha. These are Sri Lankan words for mother and father. However, he called his past life mother Mummy and his past life father Daddy. These words are commonly used by Christians living in Sri Lanka, but his current parents had never taught him these words. It is also worth mentioning that Gamini knew where Charlie lived. Charlie was the great uncle of Palitha's father. Wimala Wanza didn't know how a Christian family would react to Gamini's past life claims, so Gamini, his mother, and Wimala Wanza didn't talk with Palitha's family. Instead, they just went back home. Gamini was very upset that he didn't get to meet his past life family, hence he cried for 10 days. He continuously told his family that he wanted to meet his past life family, and he said he wanted his old backpack, the one he left on a chair. Though his mother bought him a new backpack, he didn't like it. He wanted his old one. More and more people learned about Gamini's reincarnation claims, and eventually Palitha's family learned about the claims, and they became interested in meeting with Gamini. They contacted Wimala Wanza and they gave him a photo of Palitha. Then Wimala Wanza gave the photo to Gamini's parents. When Gamini's parents showed their son a photo of Palitha, Gamini said, "That's my baby." Wimala Wanza, along with Gamini's parents, took Gamini to the house of Palitha. Gamini was less than 3 years old. A large crowd of people watched as Gamini met his past life family. Venus, the mother of Palitha, asked Gamini to pick out Nimel and Ranjith, the brothers of Palitha, in a crowd of people. Gamini correctly pointed to Nimel and Ranjith. While Gamini was at his past life house, he said that the roof wasn't shiny in the past. Palitha's parents said Gamini was correct. They added metal to the roof after Palitha passed away. Also, Gamini went to the well where he cleaned his toy elephant, even though the pathway to the well was covered by weeds. What's more, Gamini pointed to rice paddy fields and he said that Palitha's family owned that property. This was correct. Additionally, when Gamini was shown a photo of Palitha, he said that this was himself. Moreover, Gamini said Palitha's family owned an olive tree and he took his family to the olive tree. Gamini visited his past life school. While he was in the school, he ran to a bench and he sat down. Interestingly, according to the school teacher, the location that Gamini sat in was the same location that Palitha sat in. Also, Gamini visited the boarding house that Palitha lived in. While Gamini was there, he said there was an olive tree right next to the boarding house. His family later learned there was an olive tree that was removed after Palitha's death. Gamini visited a candy shop that Palitha had visited. While at the candy shop, Gamini pointed to Palitha's favorite candy. Palitha's mother said that Gamini was correct. There were several similarities between Gamini and Palitha. For example, Palitha was closer to his mother than his father. Likewise, Gamini liked Palitha's mother more than Palitha's father. Also, Palitha was upset with Nimmo for biting him. Similarly, Gamini was upset with Nimmo for biting him in his past life. Both Gamini and Palitha loved elephants, they loved to plant things in the garden, and they loved chicken curry, but they didn't like beef. And they both tucked their shirts into their pants, even though most people don't do this in Sri Lanka. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a Canadian-born American psychiatrist, was the researcher in this case. Though he researched many children who remember their past lives, this was his most extensively researched reincarnation case. According to Dr. Stevenson, Palitha's family and Gamini's family had no mutual friends and no prior acquaintances. Also, Dr. Stevenson said that two teachers at the Christian school that Palitha attended said they were convinced that Gamini was a reincarnation of Palitha. However, they did not tell the public this because the priest at the school believed that reincarnation was the work of the devil. Palitha's father and Uncle Charlie believed that Gamini was a reincarnation of their deceased son, Palitha. Palitha's father stated, "As Christians, we are not supposed to believe this nonsense, but he, Gamini, has recognized all of us, and I think he is definitely our son reborn." Hey guys, what do you think about Gamini's story? Tell me in the comments below. And last but not least, have an amazing, wonderful day.